Jeremy Walsh. I am the Director of Support, Training, and Documentation for BNI Connect. I'd like to welcome everybody to our very special webinar today, Building Your Global Network Through BNI Connect. We're going to be covering a lot of topics today, such as making sure your profile is complete, the successes people have had doing global referrals, social media groups, and all sorts of things. A couple of housekeeping things that you should know about ahead of time is that this webinar is being recorded. It is going to be recorded in its entirety, as well as the upcoming webinar at 5 p.m. Pacific. You can find these webinars after they are recorded and uploaded on our YouTube channel. If you go to youtube.com/BNI Connect Global, you can find all of our recorded webinar content up there. Again, that's youtube.com/BNI Connect Global. You can also find them on our support site at support.bniconnect.com. If you scroll down to the bottom in the training section, you will see the webinars organized by month, and you will see the April webinars up there very shortly as well. This is a live webinar, so if you have any questions during the webinar, please do feel free to ask them. We would love to interact with you directly. The best way to do that is through the questions panel in the GoToWebinar software. Of course, if you do happen to have a microphone or you're dialed in by a telephone and you would like to ask your question directly, please do let us know either by dropping a message into the questions panel or by raising your hand, and we can unmute your microphone. So without further ado, we would like to get started. I would like to introduce Dr. Ivan Misner, the founder of BNI. He is presenting with us today. I'm very honored to have him as part of this webinar. Dr. Misner.
Thank you, Jeremy. Hey, it's a pleasure to be on this webinar. First, I want to thank you for all the work that you're doing. And I know I've said this to many directors. I haven't said it with a lot of members. Jeremy, you're doing a great job with the BNI Connect support. I don't think I've ever met somebody who handles customer service where everybody loves them. You and your team are doing a wonderful job, and these trainings, these webinars, are a great example of it. I wanted to talk briefly about the strategy behind BNI Connect and why we are doing it, and then we're going to talk about filling out your profile, connecting with people, and a number of other topics. We definitely would love to take your questions, as Jeremy explained. So if you have questions, make sure and put them out there. This is being recorded, and it will be available to people, to you and to other members and directors afterwards. BNI Connect, we decided to proceed with BNI Connect because we believe that it's time to integrate technology with our face-to-face program. We are not changing the core of BNI. We are and will continue to be a face-to-face network, but integrating technology into it is, I think, extremely important. And there are three key aspects to BNI Connect. One is the database system, the management of the membership, and the administrative aspects for chapters and for directors. The second is the websites. Having chapter websites that are consistent in branding are critical. According to our legal counsel, we came very close to losing our trademark because of the inconsistent use of our logo and the brand. So BNI Connect is very important to maintain consistency with the brand. With 6,300 groups in 50 countries, we were at one point getting 6,000 different versions of our brand, which you can actually lose your trademark when that happens. And so having consistent websites that are tied to the database makes things easier for chapters and maintains our brand. So the websites are the second piece of it. And the third piece is the real vision making, and that's the social media aspect. That's where the concept of a local business global network comes in. You can be a local business in a local city, but immediately create a global network through BNI Connect with members all over the world. And we're going to talk a little bit about that today, and how for the first time in almost 30 years, BNI is more than 28 years old, for the first time in almost 30 years, our members can see below the tip of the iceberg and can connect with members all around the world. And that's the strategy behind Connect, is to literally connect the 150,000 members of BNI worldwide. All right, the second thing we want to talk about is filling out your profile, and I'm going to start there, and Jeremy will take it over when I'm finished. really important that members and directors complete their profile. It's a little bit like saying, not completing a profile is a little bit like saying, I'm going to take a half-page ad out in a magazine, but I'm going to leave it blank. Or maybe I'll just put up my name. Maybe my name and my phone number. And that's it. You know, and not put any key information in that. I am here to tell you that if you do not complete your profile, you are leaving money on the table. Because BNI Connect is so new, and yet I am seeing so many people get business by putting up their profile and starting a dialogue with other BNI members from around the world. I'm going to give you just one short story, and Jeremy, I know, has another one. These stories can be found on SuccessNet. The URL is BNISuccessNet.com. Now you see the URL there says successnet.cz. It forwards to that. But if you type in BNISuccessNet.com, you'll see it just forwards to that. So the easy one to remember is BNISuccessNet.com. It takes you to this newsletter. And if you see the blog roll and then categories, there's My BNI Story, which is a little past halfway down. So you see from the founder, yeah, there you go, My BNI Story. If you click on that, then you see all of these great stories. Now, many of them are stories about SuccessNet. And I'm going to tell you one, you don't see it yet, but I'm going to tell you one that, and I don't show it to them yet because it gives it away. I'm going to tell you about one that just blew me away. A gentleman in the state of Washington had his best client asked for a referral in New York. So if you're listening from around the world, those are on opposite coasts, quite a ways away from each other. And so he said, the client said, do you happen to know a photographer in New York? He said, I don't, but I can get you a great referral because I'm part of a network and I'm sure I can find somebody for you. They said, great, see if you can do that. So he got on BNI Connect to find a photographer. He did a search for all photographers. He came up with a lot of names. Half of the photographers had no profile completed, just a name, because their secretary-treasurer put in a name and an address, but there's no details, none, no URL, nothing. So he immediately threw out those half. There was half left. He took that half and looked at them all, and believe it or not, half of those, 1/4 total, had no photograph. I want you to think about that for a second. These are photographers. They had no photograph. He said, look, if I got a photographer who doesn't even put up their own photo, they're out. He threw those out. That left half of those, or a total of 1/4 of the photographers. He looked at those profiles closely to find somebody with commercial experience. He then connected with one of them, spoke to them, really felt good about this BNI member in the New York area as a photographer doing commercial work, and he gave her the referral. The referral was Microsoft Corporate. They were doing a rollout of a product in New York, and they needed a good photographer, and this is the story that you can find under My BNI Story. BNI Connect referral lands Microsoft as a client. This, to me, is just an amazing example of the power of the profile. Now, in BNI, it's as important, if not more important, than other social media because we all operate under the philosophy of giver's gain. We're all helping one another to increase each other's business through referrals. And so there is a natural inclination to give a referral to somebody outside of your chapter when you need a referral outside your chapter, across state lines, across national lines. I've seen referrals given from one country to another country many times. And to do it within that context of our philosophy is a real natural. And BNI Connect allows you to do that. I think that's an amazing story. I know, Jeremy, you have another one.
Yes, thank you. So this actually happened to me a couple of months ago. Actually, it was about 6 months ago. I was sitting here in my office. Now, for those of you that don't know me, I'm also a member here in the Rhode Island area in the Wakefield chapter. We have about 50 members in our chapter. And a client walks into my office and says, hey, I need a referral. I already have an in-house bookkeeper, but she needs a little bit of help, with some advanced things in QuickBooks. Do you know anybody that knows QuickBooks a little better? I said, yeah, no, that's awesome. How often does a referral fall right into your lap when you're sitting in your office? So I wanted to pass this referral through BNI Connect more than just hand over a business card. So what I did, and I'm actually going to go to our test site because I don't want to throw anybody under the bus here, but I went to our regional website and I went to find a member. And what I did was I put the person's name in and I hit find. And I came up with their profile. And this is the equivalent to what I saw when I pulled up this person's profile. And this is what your profile will look like if you don't fill it out. Yes, there might be a phone number there. You might have a name there. You might have a company name there, your chapter name. That's about it. That doesn't do very much for building VCP, visibility, credibility, and profitability. What you really need to do is to complete that profile. Now, let's take a contrast of that. If somebody went to our real regional website and they were looking for me, for example, so they went to find a member, and they either put in one of my keywords, my business type, or they're looking for me directly, and they put my name in, and we search, and we find my profile. This is what they would see in its place. So it has my picture. It has my phone number. It has my mobile phone number, my website, my address, all of my social media links for them to go and follow me on Facebook. Do some more research about me on LinkedIn. It has my logo. It has a description about my business. It has my TOPS profile, which is all the stuff below, the ideal referral, top product, top problem solved. These are the things that the general public has access to. So people that are doing Google searches, people that are just going, maybe ex-members of BNI that still want to pass referrals to BNI members, they're using the regional websites to do so. This is your public face to the world, and this is what you need to fill out. Let me show you how to do that real quick. And the place to do that, the first thing you have to do is to log in to BNI Connect. Go to bniconnect.com or go to your regional website, and there'll be a members-only link in the upper right-hand corner, or a link that says BNI Connect. And we're going to put your name and password in and log in. Now I'm going to wait for your screen to catch up to mine here. But once you log in the upper right-hand corner of the screen, you'll see a button that says My Account. This is where all of your profile information lives. So click on the My Account button. Now you'll notice that the page is broken up into a number of sections. There's tabs here along the top. This is what you want to go through to fill out your profile. Now the first page here is really just your name, your company name. For those of you that are in other countries, we do have some people from other countries here, you'll recognize what VAT reference number means. VAT stands for value added tax, and some countries do need to store this in their profile, their value added tax number. Those of you here in the United States, you can safely ignore this particular field. It'll show your industry, your classification, and your chapter status. All of that stuff is handled by the regional office. The most important things on this page are the two things at the bottom, your My Business description and your keywords. Now, the My Business description, that's kind of like your elevator pitch. So maybe what you'd say to somebody during open networking, a visitor to your chapter, how you would describe your business in 30 seconds or less. This is kind of what you want to put into that My Business description so people can get a feel for what your company does. Now the keywords are really, really important to take some time and put the appropriate keywords in. Keywords are important so that you are found when people are looking for your business but don't know your name. BNI Connect is heavily dependent on these keywords, both on the public side when people are searching for you and on the inside of BNI Connect when members from around the world are looking to connect with you. So do take some time to pick out some good keywords. One thing to keep in mind is that you do want to have variations of keywords as well. So if you're an accountant, you may want to put accountant and accounting into that keyword field so that you're found for both searches. Now the second tab on your profile is the user profile screen, and this is where you can go ahead and change your username if you'd like to. You can change your memorable question and answer if you forget your password. BNI Connect is also available in about 40 languages right now, including about 10 different versions of English. So do make sure you choose the language that you're most comfortable with. And you can upload a profile image and a company logo. It's really easy to do so. Let's say I wanted to change my company logo. All I do is click on Change Company Logo. So this will take me to a screen. I click on the magnifying glass. And then I just need to find a new logo on my computer here. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a logo from my Logos folder. And let's say that I wanted to put my BNI Connect logo on there instead. I would click on it. It would upload it to my profile. I click Save. And now the next person that looks at my profile will see the appropriate logo and my profile picture as well. Now the next tab is your Contact Details tab. And this is where you put all your, well, contact details. It has your phone number, direct number, home, mobile, pager, voicemail, toll-free fax, carrier pigeon number, whatever other phone numbers you'd like to put in there. Make sure your email address is correct. Now this is the email address that all of your communications in BNI Connect will come from. So when your regional office needs to send out announcement reminders, when you register for an event, for example, and you get that notification about registering, that's the email address that all of those communications will go to. So make sure it is a valid email address. Make sure you have your website. All of your social media links are able to be put here. There is about a dozen different types of social media links that you can choose from. And then your address. Now you notice there's two addresses on here. Now the reason for that is that there is the public address, the address that you're going to show to the world, and then there's a billing address. Now the billing address is hidden in the system. Only your regional office will see that. So if you need to put in an address, let's say that you have a home office and you don't want that address showing up on the internet, that's okay. What I recommend doing is just putting in something up here like by appointment only, and leaving the town and the state and the zip code in there. And that way, and if I click Update here, what we'll see is that on my profile, on the public site, I just need to refresh this, the rest of my information still shows, but by appointment only is here, so that my address isn't displayed to the public if I'd like to keep that private. Now, I'm going to skip over the next tab for now, but the tab after that is your bio. And here's really the bread and butter of filling out your profile. Spend some time in filling out your profile. The top section here is your bio. Now, this is the traditional bio that your secretary-treasurer would hand out to you before you did a 10-minute presentation. Well, you can pretty much set it and forget it now in BNI Connect. Fill out your profile and make sure it's complete. Now you don't have to scramble right before your keynote or 10-minute presentation at your chapter to get that filled out and be introduced properly. The next two things down here are commercials. And why would we want to keep commercials in our BNI Connect profile? Well, one thing to know is that the commercials are viewable on your inside profile in BNI Connect. And let me show you that real quick. So down at the bottom of the screen, you'll see a profile button. If you want to see what you look like to other BNI members, click on this little profile button. I'm going to open it in a new tab so I don't lose my place here. But you'll see that there's a bio tab that people can click on when they're viewing your profile on the inside of BNI Connect. And you'll see that your 60-second presentation, your gains profile, and your tops profile are visible to other members. Now, as Ivan said before, there's 150,000 members in BNI right now. I can venture a guess that 149,900 of them will never go to your chapter meeting to hear you do a live 60-second presentation. However, you can get some great visibility and credibility just by taking a few minutes to type out a few 60-second presentations in BNI Connect. The next two sections are the gains profile and the tops profile. Obviously, gains stands for goals, accomplishments, interests, networks, and skills. And this is a great thing to do so that we can do, if you think back to your member success program, one of the things that we're taught is that before a one-to-one, a best practice is to do a gains exchange before that one-to-one meeting. You can facilitate that process by filling out your gains profile in BNI Connect. That way, before a one-to-one, people can either pull this via a report for you, or they can look at your profile, read your gains profile, and you can perform that gains exchange very easily before that next one-to-one. And finally, the TOPS profile. And the TOPS profile is the ideal referral, top product, top problem solved, favorite BNI story, and ideal referral partner. Now, make sure as you're filling this out that you frequently hit the update button located at the bottom of the page. That'll make sure that the information is saved. BNI Connect does have a 35-minute security timeout, so if you do walk away from your computer halfway through and you're gone for more than 35 minutes, it will log you out of the system. So just like working on a long Word document, you want to make sure that you save this every once in a while by clicking the update button at the bottom of the screen, and you'll see a saved show up right below that after you hit update. Ivan, did you want to add anything about the various profile features?
Yes. The gains exchange, for those of you who may not be familiar with it, it is available from your local director. Your leadership team should have access to it through manuals and downloads. It originally came from the book Business by Referral and was developed as a way of people doing one-to-ones and sharing information. One other thing that I want to mention is the topic for this webinar is building your global network. Building your global network begins with building your profile. And that's why we're starting with this, because you cannot build your global network using BNI Connect or using BNI if you don't start with the basics. And what we're going through are the basics, and there's a couple of other things that we're going to cover as well that are part of the basics to start to enable you to build your global network. Back to you, Jeremy.
Thank you. So once you have your best foot forward here and you've done these basics, probably the next thing that you want to do is to start connecting with people and actually building your global network. Now, the way to do that is to connect with people. We do that in BNI Connect a couple of ways. Now, if I go back to my home screen here after I've filled out my profile, you'll see my network located here. And here's where we start to see some of the social media functions within BNI Connect. And the base of that is with your connections. Now, the connections are all of the people that you've made a connection with. So it will primarily be if you've done no connections at all, you will still be connected to all of the members of your chapter. So however many chapter members you have, you should see those people to start with in the connections. Those are system managed connections. So as people join your chapter, they will be automatically connected with you. As people leave your chapter, they will become disconnected. But our network is much bigger than that, and we can connect with people around the world. Now, the way we do that is by searching for them in BNI Connect. Now, you can do that by clicking on the Add button here in the My Network Connections tile on the home screen here, or click on this magnifying glass in the upper right-hand corner. This will take you to the search function in BNI Connect. Now, you'll be excited to know that in the very next release of BNI Connect that we're expecting somewhere in the June timeframe, we're going to be turning this into a more of a simplified search, almost a Google-like search where we can just use a combination of keywords to search across all of the fields. But for now, we do have to be specific in the name or keyword. We can search by country. We can narrow it down with state, city, and profession. So let's say that I was looking to connect with somebody in BNI. Now, I'm just going to pick somebody from our list here, and we have with us a Gerald Wilson with us on our call today. Now, if I wanted to connect with Gerald, what I do is I type his name in. That's the easiest way to connect with somebody in BNI Connect. And let's see if I can find Gerald. Now, it looks like he's either not in the United States or he might have He might be in here as Jerry. So let's bring this down and just do a search for the last name Wilson. And it looks like there's quite a few people with the name Wilson here in BNI. So now if I wanted to connect with one of these people, or I don't know who these people are, I can always click on their name and take a look at their profile. Now what's really helpful also is that there's another search down here that'll help us to filter our search results. So if I start using the search here and type GER for Gerald, you'll see that it actually shrinks the list down, and this may very well be Gerald Wilson that's on our webinar today. And if I wanted to find out more information about him, I can click on his profile. So I can do that by right-clicking and choosing Open Link in New Tab so I don't lose my original search here. And I can take a look at Jerry Wilson. He's in the United States in the San Diego County West region in the I Refer chapter. I can see that he's the chapter webmaster as well as the education coordinator. I can take a look at parts of his profile, so what industry is. I can look at his business description. This is how we find out more about people in BNI. I can look at his bio information and his 60-second presentations and his gains and his tops. I can look at the other people that he's connected to. I can look at his testimonials. If he's shared any photos, I would see those, and I could see whatever social media groups he's participating in. If I'd like to connect with Gerald, I could then click the Add Jerry to my Connections link.
By the way, Jerry, nice profile. Well done.
So I can customize this message if I'd like to. I can type in nice profile. Thanks for being on the webinar. And this will send him a notification saying that Jeremy Walsh would like to connect with Jerry. And I can click this, and as soon as he accepts my connection, we will then be connected. And we're not limited to just people in our chapters or just people in our state or even just people in our country. We can search around the world for people that we'd like to connect with. So just one other quick example. Let's say that I'm looking for somebody in the United Kingdom that I'd like to talk to about computers. I can do a search for the keyword computer in the United Kingdom and look for people to connect with there. And it is going to be quite a long list. I can see that we have about 170 people there that have computer as a keyword in their profile. And here's where keywords are ultimately important. I'm pretty sure there's more than 170 people in the United Kingdom in BNI that do computers. But this means that only 170 people have put the keyword computers in their profile. If you'd like to be a step ahead, if you'd like people to connect with you, make sure that you fill out those keywords on your profile. Now, once you start connecting with people, the place to manage your connections is to go into the Connections panel. So you can either go back to your home screen and click on the Manage button under Connections, or from any other screen in BNI Connect, click on Network, and then go to Connections. And this will take you to your Connections panel. Now, what we'll see here is our list of connections. So I can see I have 289 connections. I can scroll through their names here, or I can scroll through their names on the right-hand side, and this will include their pictures as well. I can search along those connections, and this is really your BNI Connect address book. So if I click on somebody, let's say Brian Trahan, he's a member in another chapter in our region here in Rhode Island. If I'd like to call him or contact him, I have all of his address information, his contact information here. I can send him an internal message. So BNI Connect does have an internal messaging system. I can ask him for a testimonial. I can give him a testimonial. I can go and view his complete profile. So I could read his 60 seconds or look at his gains or look at his tops profile. Or I could even remove him from my connections if I no longer wish to be connected with him. Now, one thing to note is that for your other chapter members, that delete option will not be there. That's only available for manual connections. Now, one other thing that may not be completely obvious is that you can connect with other people's connections. And this is very similar to LinkedIn, where you can look at your second or your third or your fourth level connections that people have, so you can trace your network down. So if I look at Brian's full profile here, what I can do is look at his connections as well. And I can see if there's anybody else that I'd like to connect with. So if I recognize somebody here, let's say Jason Delude, if I'd like to connect with him, I can click on Jason's profile and then request a connection from Jason. But it doesn't stop there. You can go to anybody's connections at that point. And now I can look at Jason's connections, and I can continue to trace those connections around the world, really. Now, once people have requested a connection of you, you do need to accept this connection before they will appear in your list of connections. And you'll see those listed under Network Connections and under the Connection Requests. And I'm just waiting for your screen to catch up to mine here. So at the bottom of the screen on My Connections, you'll see a Received Requests folder. So as people find you in BNI Connect and they would like to connect with you, please make sure to go into the Connection Requests folder and accept those connections. So you see here I have 6 connection requests, so I can go ahead and accept those connections. If I'd like to, I can read the message that they sent first. So if they customized a connection, customized a notice to me, I can go ahead and read that and then choose to accept, ignore, or reject that request. And again, this is the way to start building your global network, start connecting with people, and start to have conversations. You can set up one-to-ones. You can discuss things with them and really build your resource network worldwide. Ivan, did you want to add anything about connections or connection requests or anything to do with building your network through connections?
Yes, I think it's very important to build your network with connections, particularly in areas that you may want to be doing business in. There's really 2 types of connections that people can make. Some people say, hey, look, my business is totally local. I'm not going to ever do business in another country. Okay, for those people, you may not do business there, but getting ideas and feedback of best practices around your country or around your world is great, and BNI Connect can help you do that. So making connections with other people in similar professions, great idea. For those people who do business around the state, around the province, around the country, around the world, then it's even more important to build those connections, because if my experience has been that people who do business with each other tend to meet each other face to face, with some exceptions. Certainly in technology that's an exception, but when you're talking about a lot of professions, that personal meeting is really important. And so you start with the connections here on BNI Connect, but when you visit a different region of the organization, you then reach out to that person who you've been connected to via BNI Connect, and you say, hey, I'm coming to visit Scandinavia. I'd love to come visit your chapter. I'd love to meet you. My experience has been that members will roll out the red carpet for people who are coming from another region, another country, to visit their chapter. And that's where making these connections long in advance really help to build your global network. You can start it on Connect and execute it face-to-face. Sometimes you can execute it on Connect alone, but you can definitely execute it when you go visit different countries or states or regions of the organization by reaching out to those people and letting them know that you're coming. That's it.
Thank you. Now, I think we're going to move into one of your favorite topics, Dr. Misner, and that is the groups, the social media groups in BNI Connect. So did you want to introduce the groups?
I think that's an important. Yes, I think that's an important topic, and I know we have several questions. I'm seeing the questions up on the questions bar, and we're going to try and get to as many, if not all of them. Groups are, I think, a great way for people to dialogue, and the dialogue, when you have a dialogue with people, you start to build a relationship. Engaging in a dialogue creates the relationship. So I urge you to participate in groups. There is a group for BNI Connect webinars. There's a group, I have a couple of groups, one from the founder, one BNI. Pull up any one of those, Jeremy. I think what you're doing is you're pulling up your groups. If you noticed, he went to my groups, and I think he clicked on that. Yeah, here we go. And so these are the groups that Jeremy is in. One of them is my group from the founder. And I invite everyone here to participate in this group. And you can see it's a fairly active group. We've got lots of discussion, a lot of topics. And what I try to do with this is to let people know things that are going on in the organization. So if you'd like to, kind of get the big picture, there it is. I also ask questions of members and get some great feedback. So from the founder, please feel free to join that. You can have a dialogue directly with me. This is, I think, really powerful compared to where we were when BNI started. Technology like this flattens the communication hierarchy. It would have been unheard of 28 years ago for people all around the world to be able to connect directly with me other than by sending a letter that would take forever. Here, you can communicate with me directly on any topic. Some topics I may need to turn over to one of my qualified staff people to deal with, but I am happy to take messages from members around the world, and I read every message that comes in. Another group is Jeremy's BNI Connect webinar group. If you really want to stay on top of your game to know how to use BNI Connect, you want to go there. And Jeremy is great at communicating with people about what's going on with the webinars. And you'll see right there, BNI Connect webinars. And that's another very active group. By the way, I just saw a really active group for BNI photographers. To me, that was amazing. Okay, so here's Jeremy's group, upcoming webinar announcements, and he goes through and talks about these. This is really good to be informed. One of the things that you can choose when you choose a group is how you're going to be informed. You could, every time a message gets posted, you can get an email. Once a day, you can get a summary email, or once a week you can get, and this is all under your profile, you can get a summary weekly. I urge you to get a summary or an email every time something gets posted. He's showing you where to go. It's in your profile, that icon he clicked on, and then there it is, group post notifications. So he's got to click with every time a new post is added. That's what I have as well. But maybe you don't want to get a posting every time. So once a day, you get a digest. Once a week, you get a weekly digest. I don't recommend, although it's there, I don't recommend do not email me, because then you can't engage in the dialogue. When you get the email, you can say, yeah, I want to respond, or no, I don't. By the way, what I recommend you do, if you're using Outlook, is just create a rule on Outlook that has all your postings, all the messages, go to that one file, so it doesn't fill up your inbox. Then once a day, go there and see what kind of messages there are. That's what I do. It's a time saver. And yet it allows me to look at each and every posting. That's my recommendation. So my groups are great. There is one other group that I run called Why BNI. Why BNI? If you have a great BNI story, some incredible success, or someone in your group with incredible success, I urge you to go to Why BNI, because here are many stories about BNI participation and people who've had a great success in it. And you can see a lot of great stories up there, a lot of people responding. If you want to build a network, a global network, which is the topic of this discussion, you have to engage in the discussion. And the groups are the best way to do that. The profiles and the groups. It's a 1-2 punch in building your global network via BNI Connect. I know we got a lot of questions, Jeremy. That I don't want to take any more time. I think you may have a few more things, and then we'll start hitting the questions.
Excellent. I'm just going to do a quick 2-minute how-to with the groups. So now that we know that the groups are there, the way to access the groups, again, is by going to your home screen, making sure you click on My Network, and you can click on Manage to get into the groups. Of course, you can always go to Network Groups, and that will take us into the groups interface. Now, once we get into the groups, you'll see this button here that says My Groups. By default, it's going to show you your groups, the groups that you have joined or the groups that you've created. Now, the cool thing about this is that every single person, every single member in BNI can create up to 7 of their own groups. So you can start your own global discussions. If you'd like to search for groups, though, that you'd like to join, you can click on the button and it'll switch over to All Groups or Public Groups. Now, can I
ask you one quick question, Jeremy? One quick question about creating your own group. There's a way of having an assistant group administrator. That's not the term that's used. Do you know what that term is and how you do it? You don't have to show it, but it's possible to do, yes?
Yes, you can have moderators for your group that can help you with. I
urge you, if you set up your own group, I urge you to create a moderator, because when you go out of town, when you get swamped, you want a backup person. That's really important. We're having lots of problems with not having backup people, so get a moderator for your group. Sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead, Jeremy.
Sure. Once you click on Public Groups, you can go through and look at all of the groups that are in BNI Connect. And you'll see that there are somewhere in the vicinity of, I think, 2,260 groups in BNI Connect right now. If you really want to, you can just go through page by page and look at them. By default, it's going to sort them by the most recent activity, so those that have postings in them. You can also search the groups. So if you're looking for a particular keyword, let's say you're an accountant, you're looking for an accounting group, or you're looking for networking, or there's a great group in there for chapter growth coordinators. Or let's say you just want to find those 2 groups that were done by Dr. Misner. Just type in Misner as the creator and click search, and it will return these 2 groups. Now, I've already joined those groups, so my option now is leave group. But once you choose Join Group, that's when you'll start to get the notifications based on the preferences of when you'd like those notifications. So by joining the group, you're able to then be notified and actively participate in the group. And once you're in the group, you can go in and start clicking on the posts so you can interact. Now, the way to do that, let me just go back into my own group here, and we'll see the topics. So if I'd like to put a new topic in here, or a new post, I would click on it. I could read through the posts that are in here if I'd like to, and then I just need to post a message. And I could post a message saying, great webinar with Dr. Misner today. And once I click Submit, this will then be posted to this group timeline. But also, all of the people that have joined the group will get a notification with this message, either an immediate notification or that once-a-day notification or that once a week. Now, my recommendation, along with Dr. Misner, is that if you are moderating a group or if you create a group, you definitely want this to be an immediate notification. That way you can jump right back in and respond and keep the conversation going. Now, as I said, you can also create your own groups. So if I go back, you'll see the option at the top here for Add Group. And there are all sorts of different purposes for the groups. Let's go ahead and create a group right now real quick. All you need to do is give the group a name. So I'm just going to call this one Test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to delete it when we're done. Now, the access type of group means that when people are not yet members of the group, can they just view the group, so look through the posts, or can they view and post on the group? So you have 2 options there, view or view and post. The second choice you have to make is the type of group. Now, an open group is anybody can search for that group. They can search for it. They can jump into that group and view and post to that group. An invite-only group is really a closed group. So that means that you create that group, but you have, as the creator of that group and any moderators that you bring on, can invite people to that group. But that group can't be searched for. It can't be found. One use that I've seen for that is for membership committee discussions, or if you'd like to just have a closed circle for your contact sphere or your power team to be able to have discussions. The final option is kind of a hybrid between those, and that's members can invite. So anybody that then comes on board into that group and joins that group, they can then go ahead and invite their contacts. It still wouldn't be searchable in BNI Connect, so people couldn't find that group and randomly join it, but the people that have joined it can invite their friends. Give the group a description so that people that find that group, they would see and know right away what it's about. Your language, this is really a descriptive setting, so when people are looking at the groups, they're going to know what the primary language of discussion is. It will not translate the things within that group to that language. Again, it's just a descriptive field. And then you can go ahead and invite your contacts. If you'd like to invite all of your contacts or connections, hit the Control-A button, and that'll select everybody. Otherwise, you can select one at a time or hold the Control button down and select multiple people. Once you submit, it will create that group, and you can start posting, start creating topics, and having conversations with people worldwide. And again, this is a great way to expand your global network, to start talking with people that you might not have talked to before.
Jeremy, that was really good. We have about 10 questions in 10 minutes. So let's see if we can rip through those, unless you have something else you need to cover.
Nope, that's it.
All right, so some of these, I'll take some, you can take. First one I think I can take, it's from Catherine Lodel. She says, can you ask members on the webinar to let the director consultant or the executive director know they participated? I'm guessing, Catherine, you mean participated on BNI Connect. I think that's a great idea. If you have a chance, tell your director that you have gotten onto BNI Connect. If you go to a webinar, tell them that you've gone to a webinar. Your director consultants would like to know about utilization locally. The next question is from Edmund, and it's for you, Jeremy. Can people who are outside of BNI use the database to find providers like Angie's List?
Yeah, the way that they would use that is to go to the public sites. So, for example, this is my regional site, www.bniri.com, and this is our regional site where anybody in the world can go to this site and search for members in our particular region. And every region in BNI has their own regional site, and it's filtered to just their members. So if you're in Florida or California, there's all different regional sites, and that's where the general public goes to find members to do business with, or where visitors go to find a chapter to go visit as well. And that's the purpose of the regional sites. The best way I've found so far is to find out where these regional sites are. You can either go to BNI.com, and you can look on, let's say that you're looking for a particular member in an area in Tennessee or Texas that's outside your region. You don't really know what their regional site is. If you go to BNI.com, you can go to the Find a Chapter, and there you'll see a global map where you can start to drill down into the area. And let's say I'm looking for somebody in Oklahoma, but I don't know what the Oklahoma site is. I can click, and their site will be listed here. So I can then go to oklahoma.com, bniok.com, and I can search for members there. But again, this is where the public can use BNI to really find chapters to visit, as well as to pass business to members. So hopefully that answers your question there.
Thanks, Jeremy. Steve asks, do I still need to contact my director to change my telephone number? The answer to that, I believe, is no. You just need to have access to your own profile, and you can change your number there. So if you don't have access to your profile, you need to get that information from the director, correct, Jeremy?
Absolutely. Please contact your director, and they can get you access to BNI Connect. And once you have logged into BNI Connect, you can update all of your phone numbers as well as your other contact information.
Great. And Steve asks, do I still need to, Praveen asks, when we search for a category in my region, let us say architects in India, I see a list of all architects in all chapters.
Yes. So are you talking about on the inside here or the outside? If it's on the inside, it doesn't matter either way. I can show both. Let's say I'm searching for architects in the United States or in India or any place else that you might be looking. It will show us all of the architects. And you're absolutely right. If I go and I just click on Aaron Carpenter here, what it does is it brings me to Aaron's page and I lose my search essentially. If I go back, I've lost my search of architects. So what I recommend doing is to go ahead and open it in a new tab. Now, this is something that we're addressing in the very next release of BNI Connect, where this will automatically open up in a new window when we select it. But for now, I say right-click on it and choose Open in New Tab or Open in New Window. That way, you'll retain your search. It'll open up a new page for that person. And once you're done with that, you can close it and go back to your original page without losing your search results. The same exact thing holds true on the regional sites as well.
Okay. Next question is a question? Sort of. It's by Jagdish. Great session. Will this webinar conducted today be circulated to all BNI members so that we can use it as a reference to improve further global networking? Great question. Jeremy, you want to tell them how they're going to be able to get this?
Yep, absolutely. Within a couple of days, it should be uploaded to our YouTube channel. So if you go to youtube.com/BNI Connect Global, youtube.com/BNI Connect Global, and you will see all of our videos that we've uploaded. We have a ton of content up there, from these webinars that are being recorded today to how to use the online SLIPS program to all sorts of things. You can find them all up there, so please send people to that channel. They can subscribe to the channel. They get notified when new videos go up. Or just share the links to those. You can do that as well. The second place you can find them, if you click on the question mark in BNI Connect, it will take you to support.bniconnect.com. And on that site, I have all of the training videos down at the bottom of the screen. So they're broken out by month. I'll have April's accumulation of them up very shortly. And if you click there, you'll see all of the videos compiled in one place for you. So they're easy to go through and view them by month. And these ones will be up there very shortly.
Okay, Jeremy Ball asks, I went to give a referral to a member in a different state through BNI Connect, but it wouldn't let me. Are we going to be able to do this with one of the future updates? That shouldn't be a problem, should it, Jeremy? Unless it's there are a couple of states in the U.S. that have regions that are not on BNI Connect. They're on another system, and we're transferring them over. So if it was in another system, if they're in the Virginia area, the Maryland area, and I think maybe the Chicago area, those areas are not on Connect yet, but will be.
Yeah, right now in BNI Connect, you can do cross-chapter referrals within your own region only. So, for example, I'm in the Rhode Island region, which is Rhode Island and southeastern Massachusetts, Cape Cod. So I can pass a referral right now to everybody within that particular region. Basically, anybody that you could also find on your regional website, you can currently pass a referral to. At some point, right now, as Dr. Misner said, not all of the world is using the online SLIPS program. So by, I think, October, we are hoping that we have the whole world turned on with the online SLIPS, and shortly thereafter, I believe we'll be able to pass a referral to anybody in BNI Connect worldwide. That is coming, but right now it's limited just to your particular region.
Yeah, there has been some hesitation about putting it on worldwide, and the reason is that we've always said that you can't pass referrals from one chapter to another chapter, and the reason for that, you got to understand the history. The reason for that was that we had no way of tracking it. In the early days of BNI, we did allow it, but then we saw a lot of bogus referrals being given because there was no way to confirm that it was a legitimate referral. That's all changed now. With BNI Connect, we can track whether referrals were given or not, and we can double check a little easier. So it's changed, and it is now, and so we have some regions that are hesitant to do it, so we're giving them a little bit of time, but come the end of the year, October and November, we're flipping the switch on everybody no matter what and moving in that direction. We got to join the 21st century on that issue. Let's see. Here's a question from Stephen. Is there any way to automatically transfer LinkedIn contacts to BNI Connect? And the answer to that is no. BNI Connect is a walled garden community. You must be a BNI member to get to play in the garden. We don't open it up to the public. Probably, can't guarantee it, but probably never really will, because we want it to be a safe place for BNI members only. It is a benefit. One of the extra benefits of participation is the ability for members in good standing to participate in BNI Connect. So LinkedIn people, if you were able to transfer people, they couldn't participate anyway. It is only for BNI Connect people. Let's see, another question. Tony asks, the ability to build global relationships has been absolutely amazing for my business. It's a comment. Thank you, Tony. I appreciate it. And you're right, that's the goal of BNI Connect, is to build global relationships. Steve Osborne asks, what if it filters out your BNI connections on LinkedIn? I'm not quite sure I understand that. Do you?
Yeah, I think what he's saying is similar to like on your cell phone. If you decide to connect to Facebook, it gives you an option. Well, would you like to update your existing contacts with all of the Facebook information as well, to do a similar thing with our BNI Connect, where if we're connected to them also on LinkedIn, it would fill in the information from LinkedIn as well. I think that's where he's going with that. But no, it's not possible right now.
Last question, or a couple of comments I'll end with that people posted. Last question is from Sunita, and there was a question from, let me think, Srikant, and I accidentally deleted that, so if you want to send me that message again, we'll respond to it. Sunita asks, can we get to see visitors list in all chapters worldwide? I don't think so. Jeremy?
No, you could contact your executive director or national director for assistance seeing the visitors outside of your own chapter. But even then, it's going to be limited to the region or to the country.
Yeah, and the reason for that is confidentiality. There are some pretty strict laws globally about the use of data, and handing out lists of visitors would probably break that in a number of countries. So there's a good reason for that. Okay, so Srikant re-asked her question, his question. If I'm mispronouncing that, I apologize. You can call me Ivan from now on. Srikant asks, I usually stay logged into my social networks and stay active all the time, but BNI keeps logging me out. Another great tool would be if there could be apps for Android and or iPhone. Yeah, so look, we're actively working on that. Here's the challenge. When you create an app, you give access to the database to third parties. And it goes to the same issue of laws. When you give access to a third party to the database, you open up the chance of spamming and doing things that you shouldn't do, like running programs to extract data. It just creates system crashes, and it creates liability in terms of people having access to data. So we've just done a lot of research and found that we can't really just do third-party apps and maintain the integrity of your data. And so we're going to have to build in a mobile feature into the system itself. So the short answer is we're investigating it. We agree it is the wave of the future, but we want to do it right, and we don't want to put your data in jeopardy. And so we're going to do it right and do it slow, as opposed to doing it quick and risky. Not good alternatives, but that's the direction we're going. Last question, because we're over our. Jagdish says, "Can I see my traffic lights in BNI Connect?"
The
You know the
answer to that? The answer to that is you can see your chapter traffic lights in BNI Connect by going to Reports, Chapter, and you will see the chapter traffic lights there. Member personal traffic lights are not yet implemented in the system. We do hope to have that someday in the future.
Okay, one comment that I'll reply to. Charles says, how does it feel to have 150,000 members? Charles, it feels surreal. You know, I'd like to tell you that I thought we'd have over 100,000 members when I started BNI, but I didn't. I kind of got that vision a little later. It's amazing, and to be able to help so many business people all around the world to generate business, especially in difficult economic times, is an amazing feeling, and I'm blessed to have this role with the organization. We're over our time. Jeremy, I want to thank you very much. Please, everyone, tell your members, listen to this webinar. We're going to have other webinars in the future about, you know, now that you have your profile, now that you're involved in the groups, what do you do next? But before we get to that, we have to start with the basics. We got to walk before we run, and walking is completing your profile and participating in the groups. Do that, and we're going to do more webinars, and I will be active in them to help teach you how to use this tool to enhance your participation in BNI. Jeremy, any last comment before we wrap up? And we do have a few other questions. I'm sorry we won't be able to cover them. We will have another session later this afternoon, and you're welcome to throw your question in. Anything else, Jeremy?
Nope. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Dr. Misner. Again, this is recorded. The recording will be posted shortly on youtube.com/BNI Connect Global. Please also give us a like on facebook.com/BNI Connect Global. We also do webinar reminders, updates, tips, and tricks, and all sorts of things through our website, our Facebook site as well. So thank you, everyone, for being here. Appreciate it, and happy connecting, everyone. Have a great day.